first stop. I went from the Crusader showroom rooftop, so you take the elevator up to the roof at the Crusader showroom, to get to what I believe is going to be the lobby for Invictus Jump Week. So let's see where the shuttle takes me. It seemed like there was a few different platforms to choose from. Once again, the rumored first-person shooter stuff will also be out here, so that's going to take up a few platforms. And also a possible Javelin tour was suggested to be integrated in some way, so it would probably have to be on a shuttle route. And I don't need to remind you that in my previous videos I went pretty in-depth about that with Spectre, discussing some of the theory crafting of should Javelins be able to get into upper atmo of Orison. So I'm not going to rehash that entire discussion. The video will be linked at the end. But I would love to see that happen. And I obviously can't take credit, but I'd like to think that some of those ideas were integrated if that is the case. It's a major milestone for large organizations and just in general Javelin owners in the game. Being able to operate out of a gas giant planetary landing location, even if it has significant issues and such with that process. So these look like the new routes that were added. As you can see, it comes off the showroom, puts you onto this platform, and judging by the bloodstain on the ground, I'm thinking that I'm probably not in the best spot. This may be the combat area, but I do see on Hartmoor platform International Sales Center. So if I was to guess, that would be where I would hold the jump week, like being treated as a convention center. But let's take a look. Oh, as a reminder, these are the shuttle routes, but these little grayed out spokes are actually, technically speaking, they can be elevators. We've seen that at Augusta Dunlow Spaceport. So you will see like these hub and spoke model where there's this web of different locations. So you may a hangar or a pad, but actually what you're doing is you're riding out one of these elevator pathways. And the idea is that these can also support utilities like water, electric resources, things like that. So smaller pads can operate off of these. Even storage areas can also, they can move goods through those too. Sorry about the restricted area message. Clearly it's not doing too well here. It's do you have any weapons? Let's see. Ooh, it's a new kind of pack. So clearly I am not at the at the new Invictus Jump Week. Clearly this must be part of a mission or a first-person shooter environment that is clearly being set up for success here. By the way, I am not wearing armor, and I am packing a Nerf gun, because I was expecting to be at a clean environment. So, I don't need venture gear. That only reduces your damage by, like, I think it's 10% or something like that. Let's see. What kind of gear does he have on? Oh, he's got nothing in the pockets of that venture core. Obviously, these are NPCs laying here. Players have a different look when they're down. And they tend to drop a bunch of boxes, if they drop anything. So, let's see. Ooh. Actually could use ORC. Let's see. So I only have access to my personal storage here, so there's no possibility for me to put all this gear on. But this would be a wonderful place to loot some gear. I'm not shocked by that. If this was a mission or an FPS environment, you would want to be able to just loot armor off the ground. So come in here with like just a the freebie flight suit and then go from there. But for interest, I'm not quite sure what reasons there is no weapon systems laying around. Maybe that'll be different in the live environment. I'm not sure. No, why is the gray cat sideways? Poor little gray cat. Alright, so, we are venturing around, what I'm guessing is an FPS or mission environment. I guess there's no real reason to be here other than just the pure exploration aspect, you could say. And these are clearly like defensible positions, so the idea is that you would be able to run back and forth between these locations, you know, then reload, etc., etc. But that is this is capture the flag, maybe, because it looks like there's like zones, like there's like the no man's land in the middle, and upper and lower decks, a lot like a arena game like Quake, and then you have these inner protective zones, like some cover, kind of giving the defender the advantage, and then even more advantage, and then way more advantage. You literally have the high ground up here, Anakin. And I don't know. I think this is kind of interesting. They also have like these areas here, so if you are somebody with a sniper rifle or some other long-range weapon system, maybe just a grenade launcher, you'd be able to shoot a few shots off, duck, get back up. These ramped up sides are nice for that stuff too. So you can be able to utilize longer distance weapon systems. They put some thought into this. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the lessons they learned from Theaters of War, and I mean other games in general. I mean, some of the team came from the Battlefield world, you know, Sean and them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have some of that environment here. What is this? So what is that? Elevators that actually work. Nice. Okay, so we're on the upper floor, I think. No, we're on the ground floor. Even in a shootout, nobody wants the greens. Okay. Learn something new every day. Alrighty. So, let's see. Okay. Alright. So, you can fight your way across either side. This would take a lot of players to defend this. And this may be a mission terminal of some sort. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you hold the F and, like, loot this or conquer it or something. The elevator is only one directional on that side. What would the rooftop in a building like this do? In a fight like this be? So yeah, I didn't expect to do an impromptu map review of a new FPS map, but this is, whoa, urban, okay, or should I say CQB. You got this window that's clearly delineating the fight until this door opens, and then you have to fight your way through an office structure slash like showroom-ish type thing. There's some sales floor places back here. This would be very fun. And you gotta fight your way back to the elevator. And the this marked restroom? Wait a minute. Okay, no, the elevators. There's gonna be some people who make that mistake and get shot. But, okay, and you can see they added this little thing here. This is probably after the fact they thought of this. Like, people were, like, realizing you, while you're calling that elevator or coming off that elevator, people were probably getting sniped from the doorway. So, by having that kind of accordion little armored thingy, basically people come off there, and you know, just like Rainbow Six strategies, they're mostly covered from this direction. That's exactly what that was. Otherwise, like, I mean, if you look at most of this stuff, it looks like it belongs here. It looks like it was like impromptu, like flipped over and redesigned to fit their needs of defending the structure, whereas that's more of a strange thing. Something isn't adding up to me. If there's not two rooftop elevators, I guess you're supposed to be able to fly in and land here. Now, I would imagine that something small would be very useful here with a drop gate on the back of it or the side of it. Like a freelancer, it might be too big, but that would be an example. Pisces, one of my favorite ships in the game for its value. There's an actual landing pad right there. But like a smaller ship like that would be perfect for this environment. And I would suggest that the prowlers and such would have their moment in the sun, especially if you have like enough room to kind of just scrunch onto the pad. As long as you have a wide enough area for those big wings that fold down and over, well, fold back, I should say. I could see that. It would probably want to land sideways to give its folks some cover. That was the point of those wings when it's deployed into landing position. But, like, for example, in a less clean environment, this is not as good for those type of ships, the bigger ones. Although, that's might be what these are for. So you can land on top of this, your men can jump off, and then your folks basically have the advantage there, but then the defenders obviously can be waiting for you behind different cover and can deal with you. But you can't get up there, or they can roll the dice and be out here in, okay, this is an actual landing pad, and land on these actual landing pads, and then basically it's a free-for-all. Very, very interesting setup. This is a massive, massive map. I mean, if you don't have dozens of players operating out of here, or at the very least 2-3 dozen players and then a whole bunch of NPCs fighting it out here, I don't know how you could possibly manage this. And there may be more than one platform. If I looked at the map, there was 3 stops. So maybe there's like a progression system. When you capture this, the attackers can then move to the next one. But if the defenders hold out, then they can go to the other pad. I'm not sure. But it's just mind-boggling large. And then you have these paths to nowhere for effect, I guess. That's pretty cool looking over there. But I just... It's the word I would use is ambitious. To use Battlefield as an example, Battlefield was one of the first popular games to have maps that were tuned to the amount of players. So if you only had 16 players or 32 players or 64 players, the map's admin could change the size. So if the server was only a 32 player server, you could set up in the map queue 32 player versions of the maps, or do 16s when you really want a free-for-all. But anyway, and then at 64 the map would be massive, like it was meant to be. I can think of times playing like Kharkov and stuff like that. It was incredible playing that huge wide open space and trying to take the town. Really cool. There's plenty of other map examples, but I'm just, that one really sticks in my mind as really good at that type of dynamic sizing. I don't see that here, unless this like elevator is locked out and it only has one floor when there's only a certain amount of players. Is there a queuing system? How does that operate? How do you form teams? Or is it just a free for all? And in that case, I think this has limited gameplay, because I think orgs will unfortunately have a massive advantage, more so than usual, where they will be able to use external comms or just jump in teams and chat with each other in game party system, and have a supremacy in this type of gameplay. Because most guys and gals will come in here as single or pair, and then you'll have orgs that are rolling around with 12, 13, 14, 15 people, and that's not going to be fun for anybody but that big group. So I'm curious how the heck they're going to figure that out. But this was the Solanski platform. Solanski. Sorry, I've been working nights, so pronunciation's not exactly the best thing I got right now. But looks like there is 2 other full platforms here. Arrival Welcome Center, registration hub for all visitors to the Inspiration Park. Informational Sales Center is at both Brushwood and Hartmoor. Looks like the almost top-rated fleet of security and defense vehicles, and then the commercial and civilian vehicles. I wonder if they built the other 2 platforms not for combat, but for, that doesn't make any sense either, because I wouldn't want to host the Invictus Jump Week in this place where there's going to be combat. Like, somebody's going to wander off the shuttle and get shot, and not knowing even what they're in, or see a bunch of gunfire, or see like just literal NPC dead bodies everywhere, and go, oh, I don't want to be part of this. These events really are meant to be for everybody to, peacefully be able to check out the ships. If they want to shoot each other, they leave. They go somewhere else with those ships, and then the fighting commences. So it's this is an interesting possibility of, are the events of Invictus Jump Week and Drake DefenseCon. Remember, all this is happening on May 20, starting, and DefenseCon's like in the middle of it, towards the end of Jump Week. That's a Drake event that is traditionally at another location, not actually inside the footprint of the event. I wish I remember Locker from Another Universe what the post-it note said. Like what the code that said was. I'll bet you that's something like that. Find us on Spectrum. Can't see inside the box. This is a tragedy. But anyway, I think that this is a pretty interesting take. It's pretty cool to see this. I'll tell you what, this is perfect for machinima. I really, really hope that they keep this in, because I could see a lot of folks using this as a setting for all sorts of exciting new content. And I mean, as long as you don't have the big restricted area map in your third person, you can do some pretty amazing stuff. And I mean, I barely know what the heck I'm doing with this stuff. But I mean, I can definitely see the possibilities at the very least. Thank you, Shuttle. Very cool. I think it was, John Crew and a few other fine folks that were saying that the shuttles nearly cost them all their sanity trying to get these dang things to work right. That doesn't surprise me. I think they're truly unique creatures. There seems to be an info button here. I'm curious if there's a call button that you must click when you're at this combat platform, or if the shuttles are just genuinely bugged. By the way, I have like most of my settings set on medium. It is running pretty good, but I mean, my settings are on medium. So if you're wondering why the game is not looking terrible or good at the same time, that's your answer. Running an i7700K, extremely overclocked, and I am running a 2800 RTX 2880 or 2800, whatever the heck it is, and 32 gigs of RAM. So I guess that's it for the Solanski platform. I gotta tell you, this is just incredible place setting right here for machinima. I can't wait to do some FPS gameplay here and really get some fun going. I guess I'm gonna have to, at this moment though, remember I am in 3.17.1 PTU that just got released like this morning, so I'm going, or possibly late last night, I'm gonna have to relog. That way I am able to check out the rest of this place. Okay. I'm hoping to find the Invictus Lobby. So we're back. Solanski platform was very interesting. Solanski? Platform was very interesting. Basically, if you end up there, best thing to do is just go back to menu and then come back in if you're wandering through the PTU like me, so you don't lose anything. I wanted to thank WebDuelist2 there for letting me know where the lobby access is for Invictus Jump Week. But yes, I wanted to show you something real quick. if you wanted to see how to get to Solanski platform. By the way, if you have this elevator bug, you just click it twice, wait for it to close, open it again. Still shocks me that they haven't fixed that yet. It's an issue from 3.17 PTU. And you go to the roof. You go to the roof here, and yeah, you'll be able to get there. So it's not on the actual showroom, it's on the roof of the showroom building, the combat zone. I would imagine that when they have the shooter FPS gameplay or the mission, whatever it is, it will guide you to that location, so don't sweat that. There'll be a beacon that takes you up there, and that will put you on that shuttle to that wonderful destination. Which, I mean, once again, I will call it ambitious, but at the same time, that's fine. That's really what I think we're looking for in this game, is something new and exciting and just fun to check out.
He's not speaking English.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me, please! Don't kill me, please! Oh! You shot me! I. Ah!
Goodness gracious. It's good to see an active server, I'll tell you that much. Especially in PTU. That is a courageous fella right there. To actually sit down on a shuttle in PTU. Wow. There's two. I'm downright shocked. This is somebody who's been through the shuttle wars a few times. Good group of folks here. So I'm guessing they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to go to the spaceport to see that wonderful new lobby. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can. You see, I've always wanted like an info page, so like you can grab somebody's like. You know, there used to be a add friend or something like that, I think. There you go. You know, not like it really matters. We're on the test server, so unfortunately that doesn't translate over to the live server yet, which is a shame. But if I memorize the names, I can always just send them a real friend request if they accept here. And it's up to them if they want to take that. But that's kind of how it is. You just run into random folks. So visit the expo May 20th through the 31st. Remember, DefenseCon is in the middle of that. Oh man, that clipping animation with that backpack's terrible. Okay. I think we're all wondering the same thing, is where the heck is Invictus? Are they gonna put it with the commercial flights area that we saw at the end of this facility? I wonder. So this guy landed, I'm guessing. Here's a replace me ball. So these are in the game when they're trying to add an effect. There's probably supposed to be like fog or some other exciting thing like this in the middle. but instead it glitched, so it does a replace me ball instead of the fog in the vent. I've seen that before. I don't know what the heck that one would be, but it can be anything. Oh, so here is Drake's DefenseCon. Here we go. By the way, I apologize if there's crunchy audio. I don't know why I'm getting crunchy audio, but that's the way it works. I am on the test server, so it is not exactly the most stable, and it does beat the heck out of my computer a bit more than usual. It's a little less polished. So, yeah. Kind of disheartening. This is the first time I've been through these doors, and I guess it's the only place I'm gonna go. Let's check both of these elevators just to be certain. Yep, they're not a setup yet. So Drake DefenseCon will be through these doors. You can see the color scheme has been changed for the DefenseCon, and that's the elevators to match that. And I think everybody here would whoa, did that focus? That attempted to have a conversation with the host. If I'm not mistaken, it attempted to have a conversation with her. So there's like this focus beam that like moves in slightly, and then it blurs the background when a conversation starts. Let me see if I can proc it again. Whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? It's trying. I think it's glitched. Even if it did work at some point, it's glitched. I wonder. I think that had the logo on it before. These little keepsakes were here. Totally not a knockoff iPhone case. This all looks the same. This is locked still. Sorry I'm moving so quick. I'm just kind of doing like a first pass through this. In my style, I guess you could call it, for the test server, I kind of treat it like I'm looking at a map on like VR chat or other games like that, where people ask me to come take a look at their work and give a critical eye. I kind of feel like that sometimes when I'm going through the PTU, you know, like, oh, I do it this way, oh, that's a good idea, they did a good job on that, you know, things like that. And some things are not so pleasant. But yeah, particularly my audio is suffering, so I sincerely apologize for that. And I don't know why that's like that. But especially for a cut and run type video like this, this is the best I can do right now. So, the obviously we saw the DefenseCon elevators. Whoa! Okay, so there you go. So the elevator is going to physically take you to the Javelin. I didn't like close the door, by the way, on whoever that was. Whoa, okay. Invictus launch week, of course. So this is a capital class docking array. Normally the collar would be here. This will not activate until the ship's here. So yeah, but this is what they're intending to show. This is, like I said in the previous videos, this is a major step forward. This is what I wanted to see very badly. It's because I feel like there was a big discrepancy there about basically having the destroyer class ships be stuck in non-atmo work at all times was kind of a hindrance, because you can't do every single thing you can do at a planetary landing location at the scale you can on a planetary landing location in space. Even at the biggest space stations, there's limitations to their capabilities. Having at least a couple locations, I would say, in the overall scheme of the verse, but at least one clearly now, in Atmo, even if it's just high atmo and a gas giant, which doesn't even have ground and purposely has lower gravity. That's why they chose here to build capital class ships and retrofit them, like Crow's Customs, by the way, just still does that with Krakens. And Crusader bought out from the UAE Navy for the same reason. Being able to work in breathable atmosphere with lower gravity was an incredible combination. So having the ship come down here. Now, one of the theory crafting bits for players, if this was to stay, and which I would assume it would, is that when the Javelin is finally in-game and the Javelin is able to come down here, it would consume an immense amount of fuel, maybe even require special ships like SRVs and things like that to assist it to slow down and be able to maneuver, because it's not really designed for atmospheric work. But it can still do it. That's what matters, is that it can do it. So the Javelin tour is actually inside the hangars and there's multiple docking ports here. We see there's 5 new docking ports here. So that also means that when you spawn an 890 jump, or in the future a Banu merchantman, and other types of ships like that, you would have they would spawn at the docking collar. It also brings up an interesting topic. We've opened Pandora's box now. How big of a hull ship can come into Orison? Can we have the mighty Hull D, or even, dare I say it, the Hull E, come into Orison? That completely changes the game of this becoming the trade hub of trade hubs, because you cannot bring those ships in any configuration into atmosphere anywhere else in the world. There goes a brand new pair of the Scorpius. They are pretty cool ships. And yeah. So, what exactly do we have here? So we have some exciting new stuff. We found out where Drake DefenseCon is. It's actually across from where the commercial flights, interplanetary flights are. Commercial flights are right where they are. Maybe a little bit of a hint of Chairman's Club being opened, although I can dream. That focus on the character, the NPC, activating them to have a talk, but then it immediately glitches, is at least some step in the right direction. Would have been great to have the Chairman's Club active, but that might be a bridge too far for this environment. And what's shocking me is the waypointing is not here. All it says is visit the expo, and it has signage everywhere. But in the past, there was the posters and the floor art and such had arrows, had physical waypointing going on. I don't see any waypointing here. I gotta give credit that Drake DefenseCon was actually kind of cool about how low-key it was with the red lighting and such. I think they're gonna need a little more waypointing when it's the day of for that. Maybe do a micro patch or something. But when they load in the sales floor. But I'm kind of confused. Now, I wasn't expecting Augusta Dunlow, a spaceport, to be where the main event's held. It's always taken somewhere else, at a convention center and the Brevik or other places. It would have been somewhere else. But what is surprising me is the elevator did take you to the Javelin tour. The elevator are available for Drake DefenseCon, and that is a interesting proposition. So, is it the same case as the convention? I'm going to say no. The convention's too big and too complex and too well attended for such a thing. The combination of those many things. While the DefenseCon will be well attended, it's nowhere near the size and scale of usually the convention hall. I mean, there's like holograms that are like 2 stories tall in the convention center, and usually, and yeah, I'm a little bit confused here at the moment. I'm just trying to get my bearings on what exactly tourism platform. I guess it's the tourism platform. They did make a mention of, in one of the voiceovers when I was leaving, I think the habitation, or jumping in one of these dang shuttles, that mentioned the temporary housing of an event that was being held somewhere. I would assume tourism would be somewhere there. So, we'll just wait a bit of time. Hopefully the shuttle will actually show up, and I can ride this over to the lobby. Which is my goal. I mean, I've found everything but the lobby. Found the massive shooter map. Found a found the Drake DefenseCon entry point, and yeah, went digging, and hopefully I will find the lobby of this game. Now, let me talk a little bit about some changes that have been going on. I'm going to be doing a larger video in just a couple days, hopefully, that is going to go more in depth about this, but there has been a very subdued change. They were like, oh, the size 2 shields have, the medium shields have been buffed a little bit, but just a little. Yeah, they're buffed by, last I heard, around 20% increase in hit points. And I believe that's because there's going to be a large surge of people running around in Scorpiuses and also Hurricanes to a lesser extent, where they have these buff turrets, this single buff turret with a lot of damage potential, and they don't want to see the larger ships get just ripped to pieces in seconds. So what I'm thinking is that is the logic behind that. But the ships that are the clear winners in this circumstance are ships that have, say, 2 of those medium shields. And then if you start having these modules have different values, so if they keep those extra hit points on their shields, and then suddenly you have military shields that can recharge a lot faster, so, taking away some of the downside of a medium class ship, medium shielded ship compared to a small shielded ship, it will, I think, benefit them greatly. I think of ships like the 600i, for example. You know, they have these type of shields, and I'm curious to see like just what the balance of power will be. I think probably they've been testing. They realize like, wow, if there's 2 Scorpiuses fully kitted up with 4 players rocking around, they can take down a multi-crew ship and a larger multi-crew ship in very quick succession. And I think they had a wake-up call. Okay, I'm starting to understand a little bit here, I think. Like right here, there should be signage telling me which one of these many shuttles I should be on. But I guess this one's not lit up to send me a clear message to knock it off, I guess, not come here. But, let's see. Vision Center. Inspiration Park's the shooter zone. So it's this one. It's this one. Okay. So if you're looking, you're basically, when you come out of your ship to get to the elevator, you go to the Vision Center. It's the far left side. Okay, let's go.
Please clear the hatch. Shuttle will be departing. Next stop, the Vision Center.
I wonder if the storm walls, like the space whales, basically, will be at the tourism center. I'm curious how that'll work. There was concept art that was showing like the backs of those storm walls being mined, basically. Like the idea of minerals would gather from the gases in the space, in the area, and the environment they're in, and create like crystals on their backs and stuff, and that people can mine them without hurting the animal or something crazy like that. And they're like, there's the huge model that you see when you first come into the game. In Orison, which, by the way, you should set your home as Orison, even with the fuel costs to get out of here and such. This is where all the free ships are. This is where all your friends will be. This is where all your mates will be. If you're not going to pick Orison, be sure that everyone else you know is on the same page with you. I've heard some good things about the frame rates, and I mean across the board, but especially in Lorville, I've heard it's been flying this patch. But I guess we'll see in the live 3.17.1 how that actually looks. So if you're truly concerned about that. But the better option is come here, make your clouds at least medium, change the other settings to medium if you have to. Getting some Blade Runner vibes from these flames. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay. Which is weird because the other platforms use like plasma thrusters. They're like blue. Maybe these are older platforms, or they're going for a different style, just in general. I'm not quite sure how the lore ties in
Now
with that.
arriving at the Vision Center. Approaching next station. If this
Okay.
is your stop, please prepare to disembark.
This is like the game on the train when you're not quite sure which side it's going to open at when you're the first time you go to a station.
For passengers, the shuttle is preparing to depart.
Okay. By the way, those shuttles are incredibly fast. A friend of mine, Ash, she was trying to follow the shuttle to meet up with me. On we were testing out, like, could you land in, like, the player locations back when Orison first came out. And we were shocked at just how fast that dang shuttle is. It outrun a 325A. Like no questions. It took a couple seconds to actually catch up. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so like the other Invictus Jump Weeks and also the IAE, which is the other major event, if you're brand new to this game, remember there are multiple events. You do not have to Pokemon collect them all now, but these products are available, and you can pick them up with UEC, which is really nice. You can see it's like 820 UEC for a shirt, for example, which is pretty awesome. So you can earn in game and play in game. This is usually where the actual merch is for the event space, not just for the vendor. This is where you would get the flight jacket and such that a lot of people wear, and it's probably one of the best cosmetics in the game. I would argue that it's been styled so well and so well received that you had players just push for it so hard that when this year for the best in show ships for the IAE, they actually just took that jacket and they just put the patches on for different ships, like the MPuff Cargo, which of course is a great little ship. The 600i touring, I think it was, or it was both. It was both, which was nice. And yeah, so interesting, really interesting. And there was like, each one had its own little patch. You can see here the plan. Notice the Drake DefenseCon is not present. It's just here. It comes after the 27th, and then there's the finale with all the ship vendors pretty much available, and that's that. So you will go through these elevators and go onto the showroom floor, and each day set is depending on these. If you're wondering about the ships that are not in game, they won't be on the floor, but you can see holograms of them, and they're pretty big holograms. And if you hit the F4 key, you can tap it twice, and then hold F4, and you can use page up and down to and arrow keys and such to really get in close with the hologram. So if this was the hologram over here, you can really take a crack at it and get in pretty far, unless there's a collider blocking you. But like, you can usually maneuver around them, and you can spin this as well and other things like that. But the gist is, the key is hit F4 once or twice, hold F4 and use your arrow keys and your page up and down keys, and you can move in and out your focus, and you can actually just move the camera in general with the arrow keys. So you can do some pretty cool stuff, and you can really like, oh, I can look at this or that, or the engines, or the weapon systems, or the utility mounts of the ship, and you can glean a lot of good information. Usually it is basically the ship, just in a hologram form, but remember that ships that are still in development will change considerably, probably by the time they're actually sitting in your hangar. So that is something to bear in mind. So if this was a Valkyrie, you may have a ship that's extraordinarily close to this, but it doesn't have exactly those type of weapons, or it doesn't have all these modeled. It may not have the mount here, but it, as long as it says it has it, then it should have it most of the time. Everything is, of course, subject to change with game balance, but that's it. So this is the fleet. This is the lobby for Invictus Jump Invictus Launch Week, Jump Week, whichever you prefer to call it. And let's see the Union Navy into town, and the Javelin tour should be pretty cool this year. Hopefully it'll be very fleshed out, especially seeing as Squadron 42 is getting closer and closer. It's a major part of Squadron 42 is capital class ships, like the Javelin, the Idris, and the Bengal, and to a lesser extent the Kraken. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me, especially if the audio is still bad by this point in the video. And let me know what you'd like to see next. I can't wait for the week coming up. If you'd like some perspective on ships you're considering or just lateral moves, you can always reach out to me below, or you can reach out to me on Discord, of course, as always. And yeah, can't wait to check out the show. I hope I run into a few of you.